that avenue could now be closed off for them, forcing them to do the unthinkable, which is what? Have to convince people that their ideas are anti-sucky, which would be really, really hard because the whole essence of being a liberal is to have sucky ideas. President Trump nominated Amy Coney Barrett for the now empty Supreme Court seat due to the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You probably saw that on Saturday. It leaked out right around Friday night that she was going to be the selection, Amy Coney Barrett. Now, there's a topic I've discussed often on the show about how Democrats can never get anything done, anything big, by convincing 51% of people to vote for it. Because why? Think this through. Paula, because I don't have Joe here, you're going to have to be the audience ombudsman today, okay? Why can't the Democrats get their big ticket items passed through the normal electoral process? You know, abortion and stuff where you can legislate all that stuff. There's social issues. Why? Because their ideas generally suck. That's why. A wealth tax, all that kind of stuff. Why can't they move that through and get people to vote for it? Because people don't want it. That's why. Government-run healthcare. So, being that the Democrats, I promise this relates to Amy Coney Barrett. Don't think I lost it. I didn't. Being that the Democrats can't convince people that their sucky ideas are non-sucky, what they typically do is they use the courts to institute those ideas. You know, finding a right to an abortion in the Constitution. I've leafed through the Constitution. I'm like, Constitution. I even have the app on my phone. You're like, Constitution, search function, abortion. No, I don't see it. I see a couple notifications from the Wall Street Journal. Paul, have you ever found abortion in the Constitution? I'm like, no, she's nodding her head. I haven't found that either. But because the Democrats know they can't convince 51% of people that unfettered access to abortion is just a wonderful thing for everyone, they have to have the courts find it in the Constitution when it's not even there. Now, getting back to Amy Coney Barrett, why are the liberals so terrified? And as I have titled this segment in my handwriting, as I do it in the most primitive yet effective way possible, the real importance of the Amy Coney Barrett nomination is now starting to hit the Democrats. Because why? If there is a 6-3 relatively conservative majority on the court for even 5 to 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, the court option for ideological agenda items they can't get passed because 51% of people think those ideas suck, the court option is effectively foreclosed. So keep in mind, the Democrats have traditionally 3 battle plans for getting their big ticket ideological agenda items passed. They can put it on a ballot and run candidates who support it in a constitutional republic. They rarely do that because their ideas, again, really suck. They can go the second route, which is legalize it through the courts, get a fake judge in a black robe who's really a politician to say there's a right to an abortion in the Constitution. And third, they can use just plain social pressure and boycotts to get cancel culture and get their ideological enemies suppressed, which makes their ideas more powerful because their enemies can't speak. That's your 3 for right there. One of those avenues could potentially be closed off now because Amy Coney Barrett will not find new laws that don't exist and new rights in the Constitution that aren't there. Wall Street Journal covered this today. And it was an excellent, excellent point. And it's important you understand this. Check out this piece, Wall Street Journal. The importance of Amy Coney Barrett. Pretty simple, the editorial board. The judge can solidify an originalist majority on the high court. They make this exact point. And listen, I'm not trying to take credit for their op-ed, please, but we have discussed this before repeatedly on the show. How leftists and their big ticket liberal agenda items, right? Government-controlled healthcare, access up to abortion up until after the baby's born in some cases. These are things they have no way of getting passed by running for office because people don't want them. Even in liberal states, they don't want these things. They'll never get them passed, ever. So they've had to use the courts. Now, a 6-3 potential conservative majority. Again, we're being generous, 6-3, because we all know John Roberts is not a conservative. Whatevs, we'll pass on that for now. Here's the Wall Street Journal today making this exact point. Talking about the Amy Coney Barrett nomination. Quote, Democrats view all this with horror, but we think they would be wiser to view it as an opportunity. One reason court nominations have become so bitter is because progressives have long viewed the judiciary as a second legislature for policies they can't pass in Congress. Amen. Think racial preferences and climate regulation, Massachusetts versus EPA. If the legislative avenue is if this avenue, the judicial avenue is foreclosed, as we hope it will be, then the left may have to achieve what they want the old-fashioned way: democratic persuasion and consent. Oh my gosh, democratic persuasion and consent in a constitutional republic? What do you mean, man? You mean they're actually going to have to convince people their ideas don't suck? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. And they're freaking out about it. Now, the Wall Street Journal seems to think this could be good, a potential solution for the Democrat Party's far-left radical problem, where now they'll understand that they don't have public support for most of what they do, and their legal avenues through the courts are now closed off. At least, I shouldn't say most cases, to be clear, are decided at the appellate level, just so we're clear on this. Very few make it to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court is the final word. That avenue could now be closed off for them, forcing them to do the unthinkable, which is what? Have to convince people that their ideas are anti-sucky, which would be really, really hard because the whole essence of being a liberal is to have sucky ideas.
You just heard Dan Bongino.